You blink awake in a pitch-black room, heart hammering against your ribs. The air reeks of mildew and unwashed bodies. Someone's breathing next to you, maybe 3 people, maybe 5. You can't tell. Your stomach twists with hunger so sharp, it feels like your insides are eating themselves. Welcome to your life in North Korea, where you've just made the most dangerous decision anyone can make. You're getting out. You're 16 years old, living in Chongjin, a city near the Chinese border that most maps don't bother labeling. Your little brother died last winter, officially from pneumonia. Really from starvation, like thousands of others the government pretends don't exist. This morning, everything changed. Your neighbor, Mrs. Kim, pulled you aside while you were fetching water from the communal well. Well, her voice barely reached a whisper. My cousin made it to Seoul. She sent word through a broker. There's a route. Your blood turned to ice. Just hearing those words could get you both executed. But Mrs. Kim kept talking, her weathered hands gripping yours. You're young. You're strong. If you stay, you'll end up like your father. The route she described sounds impossible. Cross the Tumen River into China. Avoid the border guards who shoot on sight. Dodge the Chinese police who send defectors back to certain death. Most fail. But here's what nobody tells you about desperation. It doesn't feel dramatic. It feels like arithmetic. Stay equals death, slow or fast. Leave equals maybe death, maybe life. The math is simple. You spend the next 3 days gathering supplies, which is harder than it sounds when you own nothing. You steal a knife from the factory where you work 16-hour shifts making shoes you'll never wear. You trade your winter coat for a waterproof bag, even though winter's coming. You'll either make it to freedom or you won't need a coat anymore. Your mother notices something's wrong. Of course she does. The broker Mrs. Kim connected you with is a man named Chun. You meet him at midnight behind the old railway station, where the streetlights have been broken for years. He's Chinese, middle-aged, with eyes that calculate profit margins while you're still saying hello. 5,000 yuan to get you across the river and to a safe house, he says. You don't have 5,000 yuan. Nobody you know has 5,000 yuan. I'll pay when I reach South Korea. You counter, your voice steadier than you feel. The resettlement money. Chine laughs, but not kindly. You think you're the first to promise that? Half of you die trying. Another quarter disappear into China's black markets. He studies your face in the darkness. But you've got determination. I can see it. Fine. I'll take the risk. But if you get caught, you never heard my name. 2 nights later, you're crouching in frozen brush along the Tumen River, watching the border guards' patrol patterns. Chun's instructions replay in your mind. The guards pass every 18 minutes. The river's shallowest point is marked by 3 rocks. Cross there. Stay low. Don't splash. If the searchlights catch you, run toward China anyway, because going back means execution. You wait for the guards to pass. Your entire body trembles, but not from cold. 80 minutes feels like 18 hours. Finally, you move. The water hits you like 1,000 knives, so cold your lungs seize. It's deeper than Chun said, reaching your chest, and the current pulls harder than you expected. Your feet slip on rocks you can't see. For one terrible moment, you go under, water flooding your nose and mouth. You surface gasping, choking, but you keep moving. The far bank is right there. 10 meters, 5 meters. You collapse onto Chinese soil, coughing up river water, your whole body shaking violently. You made it across. But crossing the river is just the beginning, and you know it. You're soaking wet in freezing temperatures with no shelter, no dry clothes, no food. You're in China illegally, where authorities pay bounties for turning in North Korean refugees. And you're supposed to trust a broker you met twice to actually help instead of selling you to the highest bidder. Behind you, across the river, searchlights suddenly blaze to life. Shouting erupts in Korean. Did they see you? Are they coming? You don't wait to find out. You run into the darkness, branches tearing at your face, lungs burning, legs threatening to give out. You run until the shouting fades, until you can't run anymore, until you collapse behind a fallen tree and lie there listening to your heart trying to escape your chest. When dawn breaks, you're still alive. Barely. Your clothes are frozen stiff against your skin. Your lips have gone blue. But you're in China, which means you're one step closer to freedom. Assuming you survive the next 24 hours. Assuming Chen wasn't lying. Assuming the Chinese police don't find you first. You pull yourself up and start walking south, toward the coordinates Chen gave you. Every step takes you farther from everything you've ever known and deeper into a country that considers you less than human. You reach Chen's safe house 3 days later, half dead from exposure and starvation. It's not a house. It's a chicken coop behind a farmhouse, reeking of ammonia and feathers. Chen's contact, a Chinese-Korean woman named Mrs. Park, shoves a bowl of rice into your hands without speaking. You eat so fast you nearly choke. You stay quiet, she says in broken Korean. Police come. You hide in the hole. She points to a wooden panel in the floor. Chinese government pays 300 yuan for North Koreans. My neighbors would sell their grandmother for that. She's not exaggerating. You spend 2 months in that co-op, moving only at night, living on scraps. You meet other refugees hiding nearby, all waiting for the next leg of the journey. A woman from Chongjin who watched her husband die from starvation. 2 teenage boys who fled after their father was executed for smuggling Chinese DVDs. Everyone has a story worse than yours. One night, Mrs. Park wakes you in a panic. Police raiding farms. You go now. She hands you directions to another safe house, 200 kilometers south. No transport. No money. Just walk and don't get caught. You walk for 3 weeks, hiding in barns, stealing food from fields, sleeping in drainage ditches. Once, a Chinese farmer spots you and raises his phone. You run before he finishes dialing. Another time, police pass within 10 meters while you're pressed flat in a cornfield, barely breathing. And capture means deportation back to North Korea, where you'll be tortured, imprisoned, or executed as a traitor. The next safe house belongs to a Korean-Chinese pastor who runs an underground railroad for refugees. He's risking everything, 20 years in a Chinese prison if caught, but he does it anyway. God brought you here, he says. You're not sure about God, but you're grateful for hot food and a real bed. The pastor explains your options. Some refugees stay in China illegally, living in constant fear. Others attempt the dangerous journey through Southeast Asia to reach South Korea, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, countries that might, if you're lucky, deport you to South Korea instead of back north. The route through Mongolia is faster, he says, but winter makes it deadly. It's already October. You choose the southern route through China into Laos, then Thailand. It's longer, more expensive, but slightly less likely to kill you from exposure. Chen's network arranges everything for a price you'll be paying off for years. Fake Chinese documents, bus tickets, another broker in Kunming. The whole operation runs on trust and desperation, and you're heavy on the desperation. The journey south takes 3 months. You travel by bus, pretending to be Chinese despite speaking maybe 10 words of Mandarin. Every checkpoint makes your heart stop. Police board the bus, checking IDs, studying faces. You hand over your fake documents with steady hands while your insides liquefy. They wave you through. You breathe again. In Kunming, you meet the next broker, a man called Song who makes Chen look trustworthy by comparison. Song operates differently. He packs 12 refugees into a shipping container for the trip to the Laos border. No windows, no bathroom, just darkness and the smell of fear. You spend 18 hours in that metal box, listening to people vomit and pray. When they finally open the doors, you stumble out into humid jungle air so thick you can taste it. "Welcome to Laos," song announces. Don't celebrate yet. Laos is supposed to be safer, but it's really just a different kind of dangerous. You're still illegal, still hunted, still one bad encounter from deportation. Song hands you off to a local smuggler who leads your group through jungle trails, avoiding official roads where police set up checkpoints specifically to catch North Korean refugees. You walk for days, sleeping on the ground, eating whatever the smuggler provides, which isn't much. Snakes, leeches, mosquitoes carrying diseases you can't pronounce. One woman in your group develops a fever and can't continue. The smuggler leaves her by the trail. Nobody argues. Nobody goes back. You keep walking. Thailand changes everything. When you finally cross that border, exhausted and sick, Thai police don't deport you. They arrest you instead, which sounds bad, but it's actually your ticket to freedom. Thailand has an agreement. North Korean refugees get detained, processed, then deported to South Korea, not North Korea. You spend 6 weeks in a Thai immigration detention center that's basically a prison, but you don't care because you're going to South Korea. You made it. After months of running, hiding, starving, and nearly dying a dozen different ways, you actually made it. The flight to Seoul feels surreal. You're wearing clothes someone donated, sitting in an airplane for the first time, watching clouds pass beneath you. Other passengers complain about the food. You eat every single thing they give you, including the plastic-wrapped cookie you're supposed to save for later. When the plane touches down at Incheon International Airport, you start crying and can't stop. A government official meets you at the airport. "Welcome to the Republic of Korea," she says in the same Korean you speak, but somehow different, softer, full of words you don't recognize. She takes you to Hanawon, a resettlement center where you'll spend the next 3 months learning how to be South Korean, how to use a smartphone, how to open a bank account, how to live in a country where people throw away food while complaining they're hungry. The other refugees become your new family. You compare survival stories, share nightmares, teach each other what freedom actually costs, because it does cost. You're free from the regime, but you're not free from the memories. The guilt of leaving family behind, the fear that never quite disappears. You survived. The question now is whether you can learn to live. You're in Seoul now, breathing air that doesn't taste like surveillance and fear. But here's what they don't tell you about escape. The hardest part isn't the river or the jungle or the checkpoints. It's waking up free and still feeling trapped. Every defector carries invisible weight, every success shadowed by those still starving back home. Freedom isn't an ending. It's just a different kind of survival.